Hey everybody, it's Pastor Justin Walker here, and you have made it to the sixth day of creation, and most specifically the day that God creates man. So grab a Bible and turn open to the first chapter in the first book of the Bible, but go to the 26th verse. So that's Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, and we'll read through the end of the chapter. We're on a mission to get as many people as possible reading God's Word, because God's Word is quick, it's powerful, it's sharp, and God's Word will speak into your life if you'll let it. And I truly believe that. So I'm going to teach through the Bible from beginning to end. I'm hoping to have some guests on here with me and do some different things with the video series, but this video series, we're going to go all through the Bible from Genesis all the way through Revelation, and we're going to be doing it every day, 5 days a week. So I hope that you stay with me Monday through Friday in the morning, and that you'll grab a Bible and read along with me. This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. Hope I gave you time to find it. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish and over the sea and over the birds of the air and over the cattle, over all the earth, over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "See, I have given every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. Then God saw everything that he made, and indeed it was very good. And so the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So here we have it. God creates man on the sixth day, and we start with this opening blast of a verse as God says, "Let us make man in our image." Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that God is in a body, that he made us in the same form as he is? Absolutely not, because God is spirit. God is not in a body. He is not confined in a body as we are, but God is spirit. And that's biblical to say that God is spirit. But what we do know is that man is in the image of God in the sense that we reflect the attributes of God. We reflect who God is. And so there are multiple ways that we are in the image of God. And so I'll give you a few of those. How is man created in the image of God? And the answer to that is you could come up, this could not be an exhaustive list. You could probably come up with more. And if you do, I encourage you, leave them down in the comments and tell me some of them. But let me give you a few of them, things that we know about God that we as humans reflect. And I want to give you a few. One of those is morality. Human beings are moral creatures. Other animals are not moral. Other animals don't have a moral code. They do not stand up for what is right or for righteousness. No, mankind is the only one who does that. Mankind can recognize that something is wrong. Mankind is the height of creation in morality. I'll give you another one. Man is he is creative and he's industrious. Man will create a city. He will build a city. That's God said that man was to subdue the earth. Ask yourself this question, especially if you're an atheist and watching this video, or if you are somebody who doesn't believe in the Bible or doesn't believe in creation. I want you to ask yourself this question. How come there's no monkey city somewhere? I mean, man will build a city, an infrastructure of a city, and he'll take lights and put lights throughout that city. Now, somebody would say to me, well, a beaver will build a dam. That's true. A beaver will build a dam, but he will not build a city, and you have to be able to recognize the difference between the two. A bird will build a nest for it to stay in, but you're not going to find where they find new ways to build. There's another prime example. You know, man has gone from tents and huts and buildings, and now we make things with concrete or block or brick or wood, and we'll use all types of different materials. We're very inventive in that way, and we're very creative in that way, and that's an attribute of God. God was creative when he created the world. I'll give you another one. Man has the ability to fall in love, and that's an attribute of God. Man has emotions. We are emotional creatures. And that's not saying that some other animals don't have emotions, but man obviously has the height of emotions. We're emotional creatures. Man has been given dominion over the earth. That's an attribute of God. God has given that to man. He has set us on the earth. He has set us as the highest of the created order. And it is our responsibility to take care of the earth. That was given to Adam and Eve in the beginning, and that continues on with us today, to take care of the earth. And that is an attribute of God. You see, we are in the image of God in the sense that we reflect the attributes of who God is. And so I encourage you again, give me some of your own. What are some ways that man is in the image of God? Obviously, it's not in our bodies. I'll give you one more, though. Our identity. Every person is a little bit different. Not one person is the same. We are all, think about it, of billions and billions and billions of people. We are all unique individuals. And God is infinite. And so we see, again, even in our identities, we see an attribute of God. And so we also see in verse 29 that God said that he's given us the green herbs to eat. God had permitted man, and every animal for that matter. Did you see that? Every animal, everything that creeps on the earth, every beast of the field, every bird of the air should have the green herbs, should have the plants and the trees and the fruit. That's what they would eat. There was no meat eating in the beginning. And why was that? Well, because in the beginning, before Adam sinned, there is no consequence for sin. There is no curse for sin. Therefore, there is no death. And so in the beginning, when God created the earth, there is only good. And that's what he said at the end, isn't it? He said he saw it in verse 31. Then God saw everything that he made, and indeed it was very good. And so everything that God has created is good. And that, again, is part of the reason why I would disagree with a gap. I don't see a gap between Genesis 1 and 1 and Genesis 1 and 2, because there would be death in that. And there was not death on the earth until after Adam sinned. And so all of the green herbs were to eat. All the animals were eating fruit and veggies, and man was eating fruit and veggies. And it's not until after man sins that we see that he begins to kill animals and eat them. And then even after Noah, he is specifically told to do so. And so man was a vegetarian in the beginning, and God saw everything that he made, and God said that it was good. This is the original state that God made us. He made us in a state that was good. There was no sin on the earth. God did not create us in sin. Man chose to sin. And we'll get to that in chapter 3. But for now, suffice it to say that God did not make us sinners. He did not create us as people who were already sinners, but we chose that life. And therefore that is the consequence that we bear the consequences of that, because we chose that life. But when God made us, he made us good. And that's what he will continue to do for you if you will trust his son, Jesus. God will restore you to that state. We're in a broken world right now, but God will restore us to the state where we are good in him, not because of what we've done, but because of what his son Jesus has done. Have you been restored in God? Have you been restored to a state of good? You can't do that on your own, because of your own you have sin and you have wickedness in your life. But through Jesus the Son, God will justify you, he will forgive you, and he'll give you a brand new life in him. And it is very good. All right, I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you next week on Monday as we get into Genesis chapter 2.